All right. Thank you so much for joining me. All right, it's awesome to have you. Super delighted that you joined us today. Thank you. All right, we've been talking about sales in business. We've been talking about selling. All right, we've been talking about it also from the perspective of the fact that, I think last week was explosive. So many comments, so many feedback about it. Last week was absolutely explosive. Because I think a lot of the things that I'm passionate about, just went, came out last week. All right, so yeah, it's great. So please, if you haven't seen the video, please go back to watch it. All right. We said selling is helping, it is not convincing. It's important that you understand that selling is helping, not convincing, because when you have the wrong mindset about selling, you are probably going to think wrongly. When you think wrongly, you will do wrongly. When you do wrongly, you have the wrong experience. All right, so it's very, very important that you please go back to that video, watch it again. I think it will really help you. So one of the things we said last week was that there were three things, right? Listen, when you Google and when you search sales approaches, there are several dozens, millions of things that will show up on your Google search. And all of those things may be relevant. But what I've tried to do is to keep it simple. This is the way I know how to do it, that makes it simple and makes my life easy. All right, well, easier, right? Which is the fact that I have broken selling down into three things. Listen, some people break it down into 1 million, some people break it down to 500,000, and the way you do each of those things, right, it differs per person. But for me, I've broken sales down into three things. Number one, who am I going to sell to? Which is probably the most important, and we'll talk about it. Number two, what am I going to say to them? How do I counter the objections? We'll talk about that next week, right? How do I counter the objections that we'll raise? And number three, right, how do I close the sale? For me, that's it. Every other thing that people talk about, for me, it's inside these things in one way or the other. All right, so I'm hoping and I'm really trusting God that by the time you are done with this series this month, your sales will improve, things will get better for you, things will get better for your business by the grace of God. All right, so the first step, right, in selling, which is probably, in my opinion, the hardest step in the entire sales process, is selling to is carefully identifying those who have the problem that you are trying to solve for. If you run a consulting business, you're looking for the kind of businesses that have the problem that you're consulting for. If you run a training business, you're looking for the kind of businesses that need the training that you provide. If you run a supermarket, you're looking for the people that can afford the kind of products that you sell in your supermarket. Whatever it is that you do, finding the target group and the target segment, right, that you can actually sell to is probably the hardest thing. Okay, but again, I'm not saying that it's going to be easy. I'm only saying that the approach I take to it, it's pretty straightforward, and I just get it. I'm just intense. I just try to be intense, with that approach. So identifying those you are trying to target is critical. That is why we always say to people that it is impossible to say that you provide services to everybody. Listen, you cannot realistically serve everybody. You cannot. I wish I could tell you this much more than the way I am saying it. No matter what you serve, whether you sell food or you sell clothes, you cannot say that everybody needs food. Everybody needs clothes. Listen, while you may be correct that everybody needs food, but not everybody needs the kind of food that you sell. While you may be correct that everybody needs clothes, our taste and our fashion taste and sense is different for every person. You cannot, in good conscience, say that you serve everybody, because that is the recipe for failure. So the reason why we say that you should identify your target audience is because you cannot serve everybody. Why? There is nothing you provide that everybody wants. I'll say it again. There is nothing you provide that everybody wants, including the air that we breathe. Right? In fact, I think that if anything, maybe that's the only thing that God provides that everybody takes. But you know what? Some people cannot even take that air that we breathe because they feel like it is polluted. So they have to go through recondensed and refinanced air and refinanced oxygen. All right. So what I'm trying to say to you, right, is that in selling, the first thing you need to do is to identify who are the people that I am trying to sell to. And I'll show you the way I try to do it, right, to keep it as simple as it possibly can be for me. So not everybody has the same objective even for the same product. Not everybody, whatever you sell something, you must realize that not everybody has the same objective for the same product. That's why you can't say you sell to everybody. Let's give an example. Let's assume you sell needle and thread, right? A tailor's use for a needle and thread is different from an individual's use of a needle and thread, right? I may not need it for maybe just, if there's a tear here and I need to sew a button here, all those types of things. But the way a tailor would use the needle and thread and how durable they need the needle and thread to be and all of that may be fundamentally different from the way I, as a layman user, right, will need that thing. So what I'm trying to say to you is that objectives matter a lot. Okay? So the question you need to ask yourself is, what is the persona, or what is the archetype, what is the type of person who will enjoy the solution that I provide the most? That is the question, the single question that you are trying to answer in this section. And that's the question I'm hoping that I can answer for you today, right? But you need to do the work to be able to answer that question for yourself. I'm just going to give you a guide and a framework for doing that, all right? What is the persona? What is the archetype, all right, of the person who would enjoy the solution the most? In other words, who is it that when they benefit from the service that I provide, who will enjoy that benefit the most? Those are the people that you want to reach out to and talk to about the product or the service that you actually provide. Some people may enjoy it mildly, but there are people that it is a delight to them. You are looking for those people who the product or the service that you provide is a delight for, right? I remember one of the businesses that we started, myself and my wife, was around, doing all these Airbnb and stuff like that, right? I noticed that there were a certain category of people who will give us better reviews than other categories of people, right? So it's like in the city of the blind, one-eyed man is made king. If you are in the midst of a place where, things are not good, if you provide small value, right, everybody will consider your value as excellent, even though if you take that value into another environment, it may be considered as mediocre. Okay, so what am I trying to say to you? It is really, really critical that you define who exactly it is that you are serving. And let me say this to you, some of you may need to spend 2, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months defining this. It is that important, because you need to think through it, you need to ask people questions and all those types of things. So what is the persona and the archetype, right, of the person who would enjoy my solution the most, right? And the way to find this out is, number one, what is their demography? How old are they? Where do they live? What do they like? What don't they like, right? You need to do that and write out the persona of that particular person, the archetype, the characteristics of the kind of person who will enjoy, right, what you use. And how do you know those people? Ask people that have enjoyed your services before in the past, the people that have given you the best feedback. Try to find the common denominator among all of them, right? Try to find that for this type of service that I'm trying to provide, who are the people that it will best be suited for, right? And then try to find those people. I'll give you an example, right? Every filling station sells petrol, right? PMS for cars and all of that, right? Now, the same PMS that car users put in their vehicles is the same PMS that some people who have generators, small generators, use in their power generating sets. Now, the point is this: if you were doing proper segmentation, right, you will separate those people who use it for generator from those people who use it for a car. So when you're advertising to the person that is buying fuel for car, you are talking about efficiency, ability to get to where they're going further, faster, all those types of things. But when you're talking to somebody who is using it for a generator, right, you're talking about it will not damage your engine, longer life, all those types of things. Some of the things may apply, but the way you craft the message will be different, which is why next week we'll talk about messaging and crafting, all of that. So demography, age, residence, all those things. Platforms, right? What social preferences do they have? On what platforms are they on? Instagram, all those things. What platform can you use to sell to these types of people? Remember that you're looking for an opportunity to identify and curate these people so that you can tell them what you sell, right? And all of that. Gone are the days that you could only do sales when you talk to people either over the phone or physically. Right now, on social media platforms, on WhatsApp, on things like that, you can sell. Okay? Number 3, objective or focus. Why do they need what it is that you provide? What need do they have? What need do they need to satisfy? There's a bit of a marketing element in this, but you need to please bear with me. What need do they want to satisfy? When somebody comes to you for a haircut, why did they come to you for a haircut? Are they trying to impress a girl? Or they are trying to look, it's just for personal grooming. They just want to look good. Why do they want to look good? Is it because they're going for an interview the following day? When you understand these things, your ability to sell to them becomes a lot more critical. When people come into your store to buy clothes, why do they buy from you? What exactly are they loving about you? Is it your price, right? Is it the fact that you always have new things? Is it the fact that you have unique designs? What exactly is it that makes people come and look for you? All right. Those things are important, right? And then you need to find the emotional appeal. Everybody that buys something from you has an emotional attachment to what they buy. You need to understand why. You need to understand what the emotion is so that you can tap into that, right, and take advantage of it. So where are they located and what are the best ways to reach them? Where are they located and what are the best ways to reach them? So once you identify these people, you need to ask yourself, what is the best way to reach these guys? How do you find these people, right? So what I've done here, I want to show you a sheet of paper where I have put together a table that I use personally, right? And this is what it looks like. I really hope you can see it. The camera team will try to zoom in a lot faster and a lot better so that you can see pretty much everything that is here. Okay, now what I have here is a table. I think a lot in tables, so please forgive me. But what I have here is a table that tries to describe what I'm talking about, right? The first thing I have here is what I call customer group. By the time you ask yourself and the persona of the people that buy from you, you may find 3, 4, 5 or 6 types of people, 3, 4, 5 categories of people who buy from you. List each one of them here. All right. As a matter of fact, right, let me just do something very quickly. I'm going to put this back up now, right? Okay. So list each one of them here. Put the first one here, put the second one here, like that, like that, like that. All right. And it goes further. So the first thing I have here is customer group, right? What is a group of customers, right? The second thing I have here is value proposition. What is the value proposition? In other words, what is it that if I sell to this person, this customer group, right, they will be very, very excited about? For example, if you maybe sell diapers, right? You know that one customer group, right, are probably people who have just given birth, right? Which are the people that will go into the store to buy the diapers. But there is also a customer group of maybe doctors and nurses who maybe keep those diapers as a gift to people that they want to quote and unquote as a way of doing customer service for their customers in a hospital. Now, for those different groups of people, your targeting to each one of them is very different. You can't target a hospital that doesn't have a maternity practice. So you list those customer groups, you list the value proposition. What is the value proposition to them? Is it price? Is it quality? Is it both? Is it time? What exactly is it that they consider value when it comes to the product or the service that you provide? And then the last column here is what channel are you going to reach? Are you going to use to reach them? Are you going to do a newspaper ad? Are you going to do social media? Are you going to do Instagram? Are you going to, how exactly are you going to reach these people, right? Are you going to do cold calls? Pick up the phone and just start calling people, right? Are you going to send a sales rep to go to their store and visit them and talk to them about the product or the service that you provide? What exactly are you going to do? Listen to me, ladies and gentlemen. This table, as simple as it is extremely powerful, because all sorts of ideas will be coming into your mind as you put this together. And what this does for you, right, is that it helps you articulate how to identify the customer group that you need, all right, in your business. Okay, so that table will really help. All right, and then the last thing I'll say to you is this: try to be as rigorous with this exercise as possible. If you get it right, I promise you 75% of your sales work is done. Listen, what I'm saying to you today is probably the hardest thing you'll ever have to do when it comes to selling in your business. But if you get it right, 75% of your work is done. Because once you know the people that you are targeting, remember the illustration we gave the last time, right? If you are in a hall of 1,000 people versus in a stadium of 100,000 people, the difference between those two are the people that are in each of those places, not necessarily what you say. You say the same thing, but the audience is different. Does that make sense to you? All right. So I really hope that has been helpful for you today in terms of how to target, how to identify the people who have the problem that you are looking for, right? Go out there, have a conversation with people, talk with people. There's a guy called Steve Blank. He wrote a book, 4 Steps to Epiphany, right? Talking about businesses and talking about when people are starting businesses and they are designing products and services. One of the things they don't do is to go out of the building and talk to people. That's one of the things you want to do as an entrepreneur. You want to leave your office and go and physically have a conversation with people, understand their needs, understand their challenges, so that you can easily sell to them. If they don't have a need that you have, or rather that you have a solution for, look for another solution or just leave them alone. But selling is not convincing, selling is helping. And I'll keep saying that all through this series. Selling is helping, selling is not convincing. Everything you do in business costs money until a sale is made. Selling is helping, selling is not convincing. Everything you do in business costs money until a sale is made. I hope that has been helpful for you today. Thank you so much for joining me. God bless you. All right. Please enjoy the rest of your week. Have a great and fruitful week ahead. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. Where have you been? All right, if it's one of you're watching your first video, please catch up on all the rest of the videos on YouTube. Always a joy, always a pleasure to bring you teachings from on business. All right, and I look forward to seeing you next week, where we will talk about the second step in this 3-step process, which is crafting what you will say, right, to each of these people about their challenges, so that you can sell to them a lot easier. Thank you so much for joining me today. God bless you. I'll see you next week.